If a country becomes the target of drone attacks almost every day, what can you imagine? On November 3, 2024, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy posted a message that quickly gained attention on X. In the post, he shared the worsening situation in Ukraine, which is now facing daily attacks from Russian drones. In October alone, over 2,000 drones, an Iranian-made weapon capable of precision strikes, targeted Ukraine's cities and critical infrastructure. Imagine it, nearly 65 drones every day, turning daily life in Ukraine into a constant battle for survival. These aren't random attacks, they're precise, calculated strikes aimed at major cities and critical infrastructure, turning everyday routines into a daily fight for survival. But a big question arises: why is Russia ramping up these attacks now? What message are they sending, and how is Ukraine pushing back against this relentless assault? Let's dive in to find the answers. Before we examine how Ukraine might respond to this growing threat, let's first understand the situation they are facing. For Ukraine, the presence of Shahed drones used by Russia is not just a physical attack, but a psychological one. Over time, these strikes have become more intense and dangerous, as if the skies over Ukraine are perpetually raining down terror from above. The Shahed drones, initially known as Iranian-made loitering munitions, have now become a symbol of Russia's new tactic in its war against Ukraine. Initially, Shaheds were viewed as weapons designed to disrupt and damage infrastructure. However, a major shift occurred when Russia began modifying these drones, turning them from a basic weapon into a far more deadly killing machine. According to an interview with the editor-in-chief of Defense Express, Russia's modifications to the Shahed drones are significant. They didn't just increase the drone's range and endurance, but also enhanced its explosive power. One of the biggest changes was the addition of a thermobaric warhead, a weapon that combines a powerful explosion with a devastating shockwave. In Russia's experiments, Shaheds are now equipped not only with fragmentation or shaped charges, but also with larger and more powerful explosives. Imagine a modified Shahed drone crashing into a building. The resulting shockwave could collapse walls, destroy the building's structure, and obliterate everything inside in an instant. This is no longer a small blast that merely rips apart walls. But there's an even more surprising aspect to Russia's modernization efforts. The goal isn't just to make the Shahed more lethal, but also cheaper. According to the new Voice of Ukraine, Russia's focus isn't on cutting costs due to a lack of funds, but on producing more Shahed drones in huge quantities. They want to make as many as possible and launch them daily, as if it were a relentless downpour on Ukraine. With lower production costs, Russia can keep up a constant barrage of drone attacks without worrying about running out of stock, bombarding Ukraine mercilessly without pause. After discussing how Russia has so efficiently and cheaply turned Shahed drones into their primary weapon, we now wonder, can Ukraine defend against this threat? With attacks intensifying daily and the sheer volume of drones growing, what options does Ukraine have to counter this seemingly unstoppable swarm? In the face of these devastating airstrikes, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has remained optimistic. On X, he stated that Ukraine must prevent Russia from importing key components needed for drone and missile production. This is a crucial strategic move, because if Russia cannot acquire the technology and raw materials to produce more drones, their drone production will be hindered. This not only affects the attacks, but could also slow down the overall war cycle. However, this strategy doesn't end there. Through his official Telegram channel, Zelenskyy has been carefully updating the public and Ukraine's military forces on the latest developments. Reports from various sources, including Air Force Commander Anatoly Krivonoshko, provide a clearer picture of the tactics Ukraine will use to respond. One key strategy is strengthening air defenses in regions most vulnerable to Russian drone attacks. To do this, Ukraine will need advanced systems capable of detecting and destroying these drones before they reach their targets. Zelenskyy also mentioned the importance of developing new solutions for the war, which could refer to new technologies or tactics for dealing with drones, or perhaps even the use of Ukraine's own drones. This became clearer in a report from Supreme Commander-in-Chief Oleksandr Syrsky regarding Ukraine's use of long-range drones, signaling that Ukraine is not just defending against attacks, but is also planning to retaliate in a more offensive way. In this context, counterattacks with drones become a possible alternative. Ukraine will need to carefully prioritize and plan operations, not only to counter the drones, but to strike vital points in Russia's defense system. Meanwhile, there's also a strong focus on increasing domestic production. Zelenskyy emphasized that Ukraine must produce more ammunition, weapons, equipment, electronic warfare tools, and of course, drones. Strengthening local production is essential, given the potential logistical crisis that may result from Russia's blockades or attacks on supply lines. Even in the realm of electronic warfare, Ukraine may plan to combat Russian drones by disrupting or manipulating their navigation or communication systems, a crucial step as Russia becomes more dependent on technology. However, one question that many are asking is somewhat perplexing. Is the solution to stopping Russian drones, as Zelenskyy suggests, to use drones to attack as well? The answer to when this will end is perhaps not entirely clear, but one thing is certain. Can you guess whose strategy will ultimately succeed? Leave your thoughts and thanks for watching.